I would like to say that intersectionality came to my understanding, or it became a perspective that I have adopted to look at oppression, to look at global social inequalities.
I think about it as a multidimensional form of justice. So when you think about intersectionality, and what it allows us to do is that it allows us to talk about that multidimensionality when we're thinking about justice. But also, I think Emilia has already said that it allows us to reveal some of the things that are often hidden when we're talking about maybe single issues, like maybe just focusing on class or just only focusing on gender. I think intersectionality allows us to see the multiple issues that are often at play when we're talking about issues of oppression and so forth.
I think intersectionality is the future. This is exactly how Emilia and Asanda have said. It gives us a lens by which we can understand, people who have fallen within the cracks. So it visibilizes people who otherwise would not have been visible.
And so I think it's important in intersectional justice to understand that we're attached to dismantling the systems which produce our identities and which produce the oppression coming from those systems. And those systems are three main systems. They are patriarchy, white supremacy / racism / colonialism, and capitalism.
I think there's three things that you're highlighting. Is the idea of naming things in law. So naming, and the second one is the idea of inclusion. And the third thing I think I'm hearing is that of belonging.
There's a gross misunderstanding about why categories are problematic. They're not problematic in and of themselves. Differences are not problematic in and of themselves. What's problematic is the hierarchy in which they are embedded. So, people who would say, oh, no, by applying intersectionality, we're reenacting differences. That's fine. What's the problem with differences? There's no problem with them unless they are put in a hierarchy.
What we're wanting here is that multi-dimensional kind of justice that considers all of these shifts, because things are not just locked in history. They are fluid, they are changing as circumstances change, as people's needs change, as the struggles that we are fighting are also changing. I think there's a need to go back and rethink and reframe and come up with things that are much more creative, that will address the current needs.
I think what has worked in our complex hierarchical country is, first of all, I think we need to understand our privilege. It's really important. Mm-hmm. Secondly, we need to, what helps in coalition building is when we start from home, we start with ourselves, because otherwise it's not an organic, coalition. It just is kind of superimposed our underlying prejudices, our underlying stereotypes, our biases don't get erased.
Well, coalition building is made so much easier if instead of rallying around identities, we rally around the project of dismantling systems, right? So if the project is to dismantle patriarchy, then it's clear that there will be women, mm-hmm. that there will be non-binary people, that there will be trans people, that there will be queer people, because all of those groups are affected by patriarchy.
I find that very important, that we can all win together, actually, if we're all pushing together. And then the idea of coalition work, I mean, coalitions, it depends how you're thinking about them, but I'm thinking about them as temporary alliances between groups of people. And I think coalition work is difficult work. So there's work that's involved and there's investments that people need to put into it. But I think it's also very necessary work because, again, these connections, I think, are very powerful. I mean, part of the reason I think we're still stuck where we're stuck is because we've been pushing single issue struggles. We're not making the connections that are so necessary to dismantle systems, to dismantle structures, and to dismantle institutions that reinforce our oppression.
So I think, first of all, we need to start local, give a voice to people who so far had not got a voice to speak. That's what we are moving towards, having that, being aware of the power dynamics and still working on a level playing field, moving towards that. And where we can have conversations, around violence, exploitation, lack of access to health, reproductive health, various levels that impact, women, and then see where is it we can build, solidarities, bring them together.
I would say quotas are important, quotas are necessary, but they should be part of a holistic policy. So if we only work with quotas, of course, we're not going to reach the goals. But quotas are here as well to correct past inequalities, right? So we often represent quotas as just having representation. It's so much more than representation, because currently, let's say I'm going to take politics, which is mainly occupied by men everywhere on the planet. This has historical reasons and historical roots to it. And so in order to correct this, we need to put quotas in place. Otherwise, there's no way this is going to shift, right? So instead of understanding quotas as something that is helping marginalized groups, helping them, I think we should shift from that discourse and move to an understanding of quotas as measures that are here to stop an implicit preference system that is currently in place for dominant groups.